Yeah, so I just have like yearly checkups that I gotta go to. They found like a little small mass in my shoulder, and then just had to deal with that. But it was nothing cancerous, thankfully. Praise God for that. But just had to take care of that. I was hoping just to be out for a week, but it wasn't something that you could really bounce back from in a week. So it just took 2. So I'm thankful to be back now to be able to help this team.
Elbow, forearm, he's going to be down.
The result of the play is a touchdown.
The flag that was thrown on this was picked up.
I don't know, did it get the face mask?
Only do that if you're telling the official you're reporting.
The Lions hangover.
Hey, what's good, everybody? It is Brad. You are listening to the Lions Hangover Podcast Preview Edition. The Lions match up against the Houston Texans this week for only the 6th time in franchise's history. Hey, don't forget to find me on all social medias. I'm on X, Instagram, and Facebook. Please, and here it is, smash that subscribe button. Please rate, preferably the 5 stars. And, if you could, leave a review, too, saying this is the best podcast I've ever listened to about the Detroit Lions. If you could say all of those things, that would be greatly appreciated. We just heard from Zach. Sorry, I almost said Zach Pascal. Josh Pascal. He's going to be back. He is practicing. Of course, in 2018, he had a skin cancer. He didn't have a skin cancer. He had skin cancer that he dealt with, and he is coming back after they found a mass on his shoulder. But that mass is thankfully non-cancerous, so he just needed some time to recover from that, and he has, and now he is going to be back in this game. This is great news because the Lions pass rush has suffered the last 2.5 weeks since the loss of Aiden Hutchinson, really. And it's coming at a good time, especially with, since they traded for Smith. Why can't I think of anything right now? I think it has to do with the fact that I only got 2 hours of sleep. I think it was a little bit more than that. Zadarius Smith. Thank God. Maybe I'm having a stroke. Who knows? So the Lions traded for Zadarius Smith, and they have Josh Pascal coming back this week. Also, did you guys hear? Emmanuel Moseley is practicing again, and so is my man, Ifeatu Melifonwu, who had a fantastic season last year, but he's been out since training camp with I think it was a leg injury, wasn't it? So this is good news. Lions are getting some reinforcements at a critical time of the season. This is right when everybody's injured, and that's, the Lions are not immune to injury. However, they are getting some much-needed reinforcements. I am happy to see that Emmanuel Moseley is practicing and that he will be back soon. Would love to finally see what he can contribute after, let's say, a year and a half of, what is it? A year and a half of frustrating injuries. I'm trying to think. Last year was our first year with him, and he came back for one play, and he tore his other MCL or ACL or something, so he was out, and then he had a bicep tear. And honestly, I thought when he tore it that he was going to be out for the season. I thought we lost him for the season, but no, he's back with his 21-day window opportunity. So him and Iffy will be back soon. I don't think this weekend, but definitely be back soon. That's good because I'm not impressed with Amik Robertson. I think he's a great dude, and he definitely had those 2 punch-out fumbles. What was it, in Dallas, or maybe it was Tennessee? I think it was Tennessee, yeah. And, I'm not saying he hasn't had highlights, but a lot of times when we've got burned, I'm like, who was covering that man? And it was often Amik Robertson. maybe even a little bit Ennis Rakestraw, So I'm happy to get some veteran leadership back like Emmanuel Mosley, and let's see what he can do. I am excited to see Zadarius Smith and what he can do. I believe that he is excited to be here. I thought Dan Campbell did a really cool thing, though. Smith was supposed to have a bye week this week with the Browns, right? The Browns aren't playing. He's supposed to have the week off, but then instead he was traded to the Lions, who already had their bye week. So it's like he doesn't get any rest. So what does Dan Campbell do, being the good guy that he is? He gave him like the week off of practice. He's like, hey, just come Friday, get caught up, with what we're doing on Friday, and then plan on playing Sunday. So we'll see how much he plays on Sunday. Hopefully he plays a lot. I mean, the dude's like 32 years old, right? Like, he knows what he's doing. I'm not sure how much practice is needed for him to get caught up to speed. It's like the same technique, and he has his own playing style, and I'm sure he will do just fine. But we are going to need him and Josh Pascal coming back on the edges, because the Houston Oilers are struggling on their offensive line, specifically their left guard. They've had some injuries there, and we are going to need to rush C.J. Stroud if we're going to have any sort of chance of success. Now, the Lions all-time against...
for sure.
Oh, there it is again.
And the strength back and making sure.
Why is it doing that?
Go out there.
It shouldn't be doing that. How's that? Okay. The all-time record against the Houston Texans, the Lions are 1-4. They won their very first matchup back in 2004 by a score of 28-16. And do you know who the quarterback was then? Boys, girls, 2004. Do you know who the quarterback was? It was Mr. Joey Harrington. And this gave the Lions a 2-0 record. The Lions were 2-0 in 2004. Hey, look, and we had Roy Williams, Corey Schlesinger, Eddie Drummond, 99 kickoff return. Mr. Jason Hansen kicking extra points. This David Carr was, of course, the quarterback for Houston. I'm going to confess something. I was a Joey Harrington fan. Yeah, me. Joe, I've liked every single quarterback the Lions have had since Eric Kramer. I did not like Andre Ware or Rodney Peete. Those weren't my quarterbacks. Remember we had like that three-way quarterback controversy? Who's going to play? Who's going to start? It should have been Eric Kramer the whole time. The man had a killer 12-4 91 season. He was a huge reason. Him and Barry, we had a good offensive line then and a good receiving core. We had a good team in 91. We were one game away from the Super Bowl then. Got destroyed by the Washington Redskins. Yes, I did dead name the Redskins. And then the next year they gave it back to Rodney Peete. And then when Rodney Peete was horrible, they gave it to Andre Ware. And they barely let Eric Kramer start. And then the year after that, they let Eric Kramer walk to the Chicago Bears. And he had some decent success. But anyway, Eric Kramer should have been the quarterback. He was my quarterback. The Lions go 2-0, though, after that game. Let's get back on track here. The last time the Lions played, they lost 41-25. This was November 26th of 2020. I think that was probably a Thanksgiving game. This was, the Lions fell to 4-7, and Houston rose to 4-7. Of course, Deshaun Watson was the quarterback then, and he dropped 4 touchdowns on us. Adrian Peterson, though, he had some rushing touchdowns in this game, and we, of course, had Matthew Stafford. And, but we got destroyed. We got destroyed that game. I believe that game probably had some controversy to it, didn't it, in the intro there? Let's talk about Houston, though. Houston Texans. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Now touch me, babe. Burn up or down. Okay, CJ Stroud is 188 of 296, completing 63.5% of his passes. He's thrown for 2,139 yards on the season, his longest being 67 yards. He's thrown for 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He has a quarterback rating of 91.9 so far this season. He's thrown for 4 interceptions. He's been sacked 30 times. We can get to him. That's a lot of sacks, dude. Averaging 3 sacks a game, basically. I don't know if they've had their bye week. Do they have their bye week? I think they're at 9. No, they have not had a bye week yet. So they do have Mr. Joe Mixon. He's carried the ball 126 times for 609 yards. Mixon is a threat on the ground. However, 600 yards isn't too strong. I feel like the Lions are going to be able to keep him in check. Cam Akers is second with 40 carries for 147 yards. Mixon, though, has had 5 big plays on the season, and he's rushed for 6 touchdowns. He's only played in 6 games this season, so he is averaging over 100 yards a carry, 100 yards a game. He is averaging over 100 yards a game. CJ Stroud, he's carried the ball 31 times for 143 yards. He's had 1 big play, no touchdowns on the ground. They've got a lot of guys that have touched the ball as far as running goes, but those are their top 3 running backs. Mixon is going to be a little bit of a challenge. We know he's got speed. We know he's got strength. But the Lions, I still feel like their run defense is, top tier. So I'm not worried about that just yet. But it is something to, focus on and keep in the back of your mind. Like, hey, we're going to have to stop this Mr. Mixon guy. Nico Collins, wide receiver, he leads the team with 567 yards. He's got 32 receptions. However, Mr. Stephon Diggs leads the team with receptions with 47. He's only got 496 yards, though. They both have 3 touchdowns apiece. Of course, Stephon Diggs is not playing. He is out for the rest of the season with an injury. So that gives Mr. Dell and Mr. Schultz from the Dallas Cowboys a couple years ago, right? Wasn't that where he came from? He is their tight end. He has 26 receptions for only 244 yards, 0 touchdowns. So he's either due or he's somebody we don't have to worry about. So that's such a hard. You're this far in the season, you don't have a touchdown yet. So you got to think he's got to get a touchdown here pretty soon. I don't like to think about that, but crap, he is probably due. Defensively, they got Mr. Toa Oto'o. I don't know how to say his name. I'm really sorry, Mr. To'o. T-O''O''O. If you can say it, let me know. Let me hear you say it. He leads the team with 50 total tackles, though. He is a linebacker. And then they've got a safety with 49 tackles. And then there's Al Shair. He's a linebacker with 40 tackles. Their defense is pretty solid, and it looks like it's spread out a little bit. The Houston Texans are 4-0 at home, and, of course, we are playing them on the road. So I feel like between the 4-0 at home and commanding the 4-1 record against the Lions, you want to say, oh, the Lions don't have a chance, or, oh, the Lions are due to get another win here, right? History has got to change. Now, in the preseason predictions, this was a game that I predicted the Lions would lose. I felt like Houston was a really strong team last year, and they should have only gotten better this year. I feel like they've come down to earth a little bit. I think this game is very winnable against the Texans. The Lions are playing some of the greatest football in the NFL right now, and their offense is unbelievable. So will Houston's defense be able to stop the Lions' offense? We're going to have to wait and see on that. You guys want to get some updated Detroit Lions stats? Yeah? You guys want to get some Detroit Lions stats? No. Those are some beautiful songs. Jared Goff has thrown for He is 158 of 211. He's completed 74.9% of his passes. He's thrown for 1,840 yards. He's averaging 230 yards a game. His longest, of course, is 70 yards on the year. He's thrown for 14 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. He's only been sacked 18 times, and honestly, that feels like a lot, but really it's only 2 times a game. Very respectable. Very respectable. The offensive line is really taking care of him, and they need to do it again this week. Of course, they've got Will Anderson. Big fan of Will Anderson. Jared Goff is still commanding that 115 quarterback rating. Jahmyr Gibbs, he has carried the ball 103 times for 656 yards. He's averaging 6.4 yards a carry. He's got 5 big plays on the year. He's got 7 touchdowns. David Montgomery has 7 touchdowns as well. Of course, David Montgomery has carried the ball 110 times for 488 yards. Clearly, with this sample size, Gibbs is the better running back, even though, I feel like they favored Gibbs the last couple weeks, but Gibbs is running away with it. And Montgomery's carried the ball 7 more times than him. But Gibbs is the 6th leading receiver on the team with 20 receptions, and Montgomery has 17 receptions. Man, they're really neck and neck. I like this little competition between Gibbs and Montgomery, so I'm just constantly checking who's winning this battle, and right now it looks like Gibbs has this in the bag. I'd like to see Montgomery get a couple more yards because I want to see both of them get 1,000 yards on the ground. I think that would be pretty sweet, and they're both... Well, I think Montgomery's a little bit behind pace to make that happen. Gibbs should get it very easily, though. Very easily. He's at 656, so he only needs 44 more yards for 700. And, we're halfway through the season practically right now, a little bit over halfway. Yeah. Let me do the math here. 7-1, 8 games. We're just at this game, halfway through this game. We'll be halfway through the season. So... it's possible they could both get 1,000 yards right now. It's possible. Of course, we got Jameson Williams coming back today. He's only got 361 yards on 17 receptions with 3 touchdowns, his longest being 70 yards. He's got 7 big plays, though. Mr. Amon-Ra St. Brown has 48 receptions for 464 yards with 6 touchdowns. Those 2 games that Williams was absent really hurt his stats, so I'm not sure Williams is going to get 1,000 yards this season. St. Brown, he's got a little bit of work to do, but I believe he will get it. Laporta is 3rd on the team with yards. He's second on the team with receptions. He's got 22 receptions out of 26 targets. The dude is catching everything, man. But he's got 300 yards, and he's got 2 touchdowns so far on the year. Mr. Patrick, come on, dude. 0 touchdowns. This is your week. Do it up, man. Get this touchdown. Patrick, he's got 12 receptions on the year for 177 yards. Averaging 14.8 yards per catch. That's not too bad. Cleve Raymond, though, he's got 14 catches as well. For 174 yards, he's got 2 touchdowns. We've already talked about everybody else. One thing I did want to check, go back one more, so it's a little bit faster here, on the defense for Houston. Will Anderson, he's got 7.5 sacks so far this season out of 9 games played, so that's not too bad. You got to think if Hutch was playing, he'd be up a little bit more, but Hutch is at edge, and so is Anderson. So I thought Anderson was a tackle. I did not realize that. And then they have another defensive end, Daniel Hunter. He's got 5.5 sacks on the year. And Mr. Tim Settle Jr. has 4 sacks, and that's pretty much their top 3. There's a few guys with 2 sacks, and then a few scragglers with just 1 sack. Mr. Oto, thank you, Mr. Oto. He's got 1 sack himself. Hey, even I got 1 sack. Hey-oh! That's right. This first inappropriate joke I've made, as far as you guys know. So, Hutch still has those 7.5 sacks, and he hasn't played in 4 weeks now. And Aleem McNeil is second on the team with only 2.5 sacks. That's a 5-sack difference, man. Rodrigo, he's got 2 sacks. Nowaski, he's got 2 sacks. I feel like Nowaski just started getting playing time, and he had that interception at the beginning of last week. Onwuzurike has 1.5 sack, but we got a bunch of guys. For a team, we have 20 sacks, but I don't think we had a single sack last season, or last week, if I remember that right. Where is it? Man, I really hate ESPN. I'm just kidding. Of course, I love ESPN. Right now, the Lions are 3.5-point favorites. The matchup predictor has us a 61.6% chance of winning. The Lions are 7-1 and Houston is 6-3. We've covered all of that stuff, though. Hey, you can get a ticket as low as $122, though. That's not so bad. Taylor Decker, he's questionable. Jalen Reeves-Maybin is questionable. See, Maybin is going to be out. Rodriguez is going to be out. They both are injured. They have some questionable guys, too. Nico Collins is definitely out. Aziz Al-Shair, he's questionable. Damian Pierce is questionable. Linebacker Jake Hansen is questionable. And, let's try it. Folurunzo Fadukazi. Fatu Casey. Kasi. Man, I hope you guys are getting some entertainment out of this crap. The Lions, of course, have won their last 6 games in a row. And Houston, Houston has lost their last game against the Jets. Houston's definitely beatable. They are not the powerhouse I thought they were going to be. I know I already said that as well. The over-under for total points is 48.5. Will both teams score 25 points? 25-24. That's what's got to happen here. I don't know if that's going to happen, honestly. I think they're going to fall a little bit short. I think there's going to be plenty of offense, but at the same time, I think it's going to be close and low scoring. I think it's going to be 24-21. Man, I kind of want to listen. This isn't blasphemous, but I predicted the Lions would lose this game at the beginning of the season. I'm just trying to stay strong to that. But my gut is telling me the Lions are going to win, based off of everything I've seen. I feel like the Lions are still trending up, and Houston has come back down a little bit. So I want to say 24-21 Lions victory on this. It's going to be a tough game. CJ Stroud, he had a hell of a season last year, and he's still playing pretty solid this year. He is getting sacked a lot. He needs to be protected. This is a good chance for the Lions to get back at it as far as like the pass rush goes, especially with Zadarius Smith and Pascal coming back. I would love to see both of those guys get a sack, and even Aleem McNeil get a sack. So let's call 3 sacks for tomorrow. That happens to be the average for the Houston Texans. Keys to the game, as always: run the ball, Lions. Run the ball. First quarter, run the ball. Second quarter, run the ball. Third quarter, run the ball. Fourth quarter, guess what? Run the ball, right? And that'll set up your Jared Goff. Look for him to have another high completion percentage. Don't expect too many incomplete passes. Hell, I wouldn't even be surprised if he went 18 for 19 tomorrow. He hasn't had to do too much the last few games. He might have to step it up a little bit more now. I still feel like let's just call it 50 yards each for Gibbs and Montgomery. You never know. Somebody's going to get 70 yards, somebody's going to get 40 yards, but ultimately, let's 55 yards for both of them. That's what I'll average it out to. And let's go with 20 yards receiving for both of them as well. And look for Amon-Ra St. Brown to get that touchdown. This would break that record. Right now, he's tied, I believe, at 6 games with a touchdown reception, tied with Herman Moore. I feel like they're going to give it to St. Brown. He's going to break that record. What did I say, tomorrow? On Sunday. Sunday Night Football, 8:20 on Peacock or NBC. Peacock? Yeah. I feel kind of amped up for this game, but I feel freaking exhausted because I really did get no sleep. So that's why I kind of rushed through this one, and I was probably a little bit scrambled and stuff. It is time for me to go to bed, but I wanted to get this episode up, and I wanted to get this episode out. No, I have not had cocaine tonight. I'm sorry that I am talking so fast. You wouldn't believe it to hear it, but my eyes are super droopy and saggy and closing, and my brain is all mush, just due to a lack of sleep. So thanks for listening, everybody. Please, again, subscribe, leave a review. I'm told this helps me grow the show, and I'm all about growth. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Hims. That's a joke. There's no paid advertisement, but I thought that was a good joke. Hims, it's like that online pharmacy, helps you grow your hair and makes your wiener hard. 2 separate drugs, I believe. Yeah. This is, I don't want to get off on a tangent here, but if you're an online prescription store, why are those your only 2 things? I believe they do some mental health stuff too, but it's like, just go all in and just offer everything, just be a doctor or pharmacy. Instead, you're only supposed to go to Hims if you want to help your balding or help your little manhood out. It's weird. All right. Anyway, that's it. See, this is what happens when I get tired. I start talking about random crap that I have no idea about, as far as you know. All right. I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for listening. And I should be back. Yeah, I'll be back Sunday night right after the game, because the 8:20 game, it'll be over at 11. So I will just hop on and do a podcast and get that out late night. All right. I'm good. Peace out, guys.